My name is Ryan with A3. I'm going to do a quick biomechanics review of your pitching. First off, I want to say, as a young pitcher, really want to commend you on your ability to hit spots. I mean, that is one of the hardest things to do in sport, is to take that little pill and put it over a plate from that far away with everything else that's going on around you. So number one, good job on that. Obviously, a lot of hard work has been put into this, or maybe you just have this God-given ability to be able to do that. And I want to commend you on it, because it's a very hard thing to do. Not many people in this world can actually put a ball over that small of a target and get a strike. So great job. What we want to think about is, as you get older, the harder you throw, the bigger you are, the higher level you get to. One of the most important things, the biggest ability that you can have, is availability. And we want to be able to be in a good position biomechanically, that we don't start creating these little minor injuries that can nag a pitcher especially. So when we start thinking about a pitcher going into spring training or off-season training or whatever, and throwing out their arm a little bit just from doing a little bit too much BP or whatever that we're throwing, we want to eliminate those issues. And I'm going to show you a couple things as you go through your pitching motion that can be focused on to help you to eliminate any possibility of that stuff. So as we go into your pitch, there's a couple things I want you to think about. One, first off, great hip mobility. This is a fantastic thing to build on right here, is that hip mobility, first of all. Now, as we go into this, we want to think about rotation and all of that. So look at that swing right there of that front leg. So as that front leg comes here, there's a lot of swing happening. And there's some more efficient ways to do that we can talk about later, but that's one thing, first thing I want you to see. Now, right there, you drag it. You can see the dirt come off the ground right there. So watch your foot as we get down here. Watch right there. Watch the dirt kick up as you go into it right there. You see the dirt kick up. So there's some efficiency things that we can do from the hip position and the abs and the glutes that will actually help that, so you're not dragging there. Now, once we go into that position, because of this, look where our arm is. So that's another thing that we want to think about long term, is where my arm is. And again, that's a direct reflection of where my leg is. So as I come around, you're going to notice that you pull your arm in, and that's great. But there's also going to be a rotation of the body where you're leaning away from where the force is coming into the ground. Force in, force out, and also how we absorb force before it goes out. So there's those three tiers there. There's going to be force. You got to absorb it, and then you're recreating force. And we want those things to work really smoothly together. And a lot of times these kind of glitches will happen. And as your arm comes forward, it's going to put a lot of stress on your elbow and your shoulder, which again, as a pitcher, we don't want. We want that force to go into our glutes, our abs, our hips, so that we can be a little bit more controlled here, a little looser and a little bit more controlled up here up top. So let's go into this thing. Let's go a little bit further into it. You'll notice that right there, your foot's on the ground. Now, you're starting to lean away from it, but you really have no option at this point because your arm is so straight. Now again, another positive here. That range of motion, I mean, I want to sign you up for some javelin lessons too, because that's a really, really hard position to get your arm that far back and have that much range of motion. So don't take this as anything that's bad. There is a ton of good things going on here. And because you have the ability to have all these really positive things happening, a couple cleanup positions will make this really, really efficient, and then we can add to your pitching repertoire. So as we go through this and you hit the ground, you can see there's a lot of lean away from where you're throwing it, and you're leaning on that top foot, and now we start to get that that line that's coming across. So as I go from the foot up to the hip and up to the shoulder, you can see that there's this line going along. And what we really want to see when we're talking about producing the force and being able to have a really strong position with the body and throwing from the body and not just the arm, we want to think about that line being a little bit more straight as we go through it. Because remember, I'm taking energy from here and pushing it over there. And I don't want a lot of range of motion side to side when I do that. And that's going to come from, it all starts from how I hit the ground. And so as you go through this, there's a little bit of a buckle in the knee. And I also want you to watch your head. So I'm going to back this up just a hair. Now watch your head. You're looking at the catcher. You're looking at where the batter is in space. And then right as you, sorry for the text, but right as you go through it, you're going to watch your head drop. right there. I just lost my vision of what's going on because of the position I'm in here. So immediately you do a very good job of popping your head back up to see what's going to happen. But if this guy actually makes contact with the ball, which obviously he doesn't, but if he were to, the way you fell off the mound there is going to create a problem for you down the line. So now your eyes are up, you're aware of what's going on, but your momentum's taking you so far that way that if ball's in play, you might be in trouble. So these are all things to think about. Again, I'm not taking away anything away from your pitching. You're doing a fantastic job pitching. The position of the ball, the spots that you're getting to, amazing as a young guy. There's just a couple little things that we're talking about here that can really help you get a little bit better as you grow. Because remember, pitching mechanics are going to change a little bit as you get older, and those biomechanics of how you're absorbing and producing force need to change with it. So one last thing that we were talking about that we haven't really gone over is I want you to watch your knee position right here, and I'll try to zoom in. It might be kind of hard to see due to the transfer of the video and all that, but I want you to pay attention right there. You're going to see a little bit of a movement here in the knee, a little bit of a buckle. And again, with a lot of things going on, the meniscus, the ACL, all of these things that are going on that we constantly hear about, watch the knee. See that movement right there? You can see it happen in that little blue part of your sock. Right there, there's a little bit of a movement. And so what that's showing us is where your foot is on the ground and the rotation of the knee. And those are things, again, we want a little bit of a flexion in the knee to come up over the top of it, but we don't want that lateral movement in the knee. And that, again, depends on how the foot hit the ground. And if you remember, if we go full circle, when that foot struck the ground and kind of dragged a little bit, most likely in that circumstance, you're on the outside wall of your foot, which again is causing you to fall over a little bit. But again, don't take this as any type of criticism. Again, as a biomechanics person, as a sports performance person, our job is to take really good things and improve it. And so far, you've got a fantastic base. Congratulations. There's some things you can do to be even better, and that's pretty cool. Enjoy.